Much of the 1930s and 40s of the Montreal Canadiens were struggling to get back to the Stanley Cup. They had some difficulty acquiring players, but one of them that really stood out is a man they called Black Cat. Now, Johnny Gagnon wasn't the biggest drink of water on the ice. Usually, he would weigh in between 140 and 145 pounds, and according to legend, once stocked his body with rocks during a weigh-in to pretend he was bigger. But what he did in hockey for a number of teams, including Montreal and Providence, has made him legendary. Now, Jean-Joseph Black Cat Gagnon, born June 3rd, 1905 in Chicoutimi, played in the National Hockey League from 1930 to 1940. During this tenure, he also skated for the New York Americans, Boston Bruins, and the Canadiens. He also played for the Providence Reds of the AHL, and eventually won the Stanley Cup in 1931 with the Habs. Gagnon's, of course, greatest story, how he, as a Canadiens wannabe, filled his pockets with 10 pounds of rocks during a way up, and having impressed Canadiens brass with his 150-pound weight on a scale, got a tryout with the team, who had formerly shunned him for being too light for pro hockey. Gagnon was a modest sort who gave all the credit to his two superstar line mates, Howie Morenz and Aurel Joliette, claiming he simply passed him the puck, stand back, and get the assist. Now, after his retirement, he became legendary for another reason. He became a scout for the New York Rangers. He was in part responsible for the Rangers getting the great goalie Eddie Giacomin, scouting him when he played for the AHL's Providence Reds, and becoming friends with him. He gave Rangers GM Emile Francis glowing reports on Giacomin, and finally Francis decided to see Giacomin play. Francis eventually obtained him for 4 players. Now, Gagnon, who passed away on March 21st, 1984, after a lengthy illness in Cranston, Rhode Island, left a whole bunch of dedicated teammates and, Rangers faithful, Reds and Canes faithful that saw him as sort of one of the most important right-wingers in NHL history. Now, he first got his major start for the Chicoutimi Bluets of the QPHL in 1923. Now, that year, he also played for the Quebec Bulldogs of the Big Four. Now, 24 and 25, he played with the Trois-Rivières Renards of the ECHL. Best season was in 25, when he scored 18 goals in 16 games in a regular season and 5 goals in 2 playoff games. Now, in 26, he played with the Quebec Sons of Ireland of the QAHA, 5 goals in 10 games and 4 goals in 6 playoff contests. Now, 27, he was back in the Can-Am League with the Quebec Castel. He scored 27 goals that year in 32 games. 28, it was his first of 3 consecutive seasons with the Providence Reds. He scored 27 and 21 and 28, 29, 30 with 24 points, 10 and 38. And in the 29 playoffs, he had 4 goals in 6 games, while in 1930 he had 2 goals in 3 games, including 6 points. Now, 31, he opened up with the Habs with 18 goals in the regular season, 6 in the playoffs, 51 games combined. 32, he had 19 goals in 48 games. 33, he had 12 goals in 48 games. 34, he had 9 goals in 48 games. Now, 35 was a weird season. He played some of the year with Boston, 2 points in 24 games, while with the Habs he had 6 points, including 1 goal in 23 contests. Now, 36 to 1940, he played with Montreal. He had 7, 20, 13, 12, and 4 goals before he found his way in 1940 with the New York Americans. For a lot of people, his career campaign was in 37, when he had 20 goals and 36 points in 48 games, again as part of the big line, and 3 points in 5 playoff games. Now, with the New York Americans, his last half season in the NHL, he had 7 points in 24 games. Now, in the war years, in 1941, he played with Shawinigan Cataracts, 41 points in 33 games, including 15 goals. And Shawinigan was in the QSHL at the time. Now, 42, he found his way to the Maritimes with the North Sydney Victorias of the CBSHL, 16 points in 23 games. Now, he wrapped up his career with campaigns in Providence in 43 and 45, and 43 had 19 points in 58 games. Now, NHL totals, 454 games, 120 goals, 141 assists for 261 points, and 24 points in 32 playoff games. And, of course, the big Stanley Cup win in 1931. Now, what was weird about 31, ladies and gentlemen, he had a very strong playoff, 6 goals, 2 assists for 8 points. But what was kind of bizarre too, he wasn't scared to take a penalty. If he's averaging a point, penalty minute a game, a total, especially in the minors. So, like I said, a good two-way player. But no offense, 5'5", 140 pounds. You had to be speedy, and he was considered kind of like a Bobby Lalonde, Matt Slaslin type for his area. And the Gagnons, I don't know if you know the family, all the Gagnons are tough as nails. There's a lot of Acadians mixed in the family. And but my God, when Jacquemin got recruited, that really changed hockey history. So he was part of 2 of the greatest phases of hockey history. Again, the 1930s, the pre-Second World War era, where there were some of the better players in NHL history really, really shone. And of course, as a scout for the Rangers, were basically, the Rangers were always, 2 players away from a Stanley Cup run. We saw that, in the 1970 season. We saw it in 1974, saw it in 1979. But it wouldn't be Johnny Gagnon, all the big victories of the Rangers back in the day with Jacquemin in the cage. They wouldn't have had him, so he was a consummate, a proponent of the best players of the game playing together or being recruited. So that's the story about the other Chicoutimi cucumber, Mr. Johnny Gagnon. If you like what we're doing here with our Montreal Canadiens podcast, let us know with a like, comment, and subscribe. And don't forget, requests are always accepted and often tolerated. Have a good day. Bye.